Okay, in a previous video I talked about how to graph linear inequalities with two variables on the xy plane. In this video we're going to talk about how to graph systems of inequalities. And when we say systems, we mean we're just going to have more than one inequality that we're graphing now. And the goal will be to try to find out where the shading overlaps. So what we're going to do here is we'll graph the first line. This is in slope-intercept form. So I'll start here at -1. And then I'm going to rise 1 and run 3 from here. And then remember that if we don't have the or equal to line underneath it, this is going to be a dotted line for that graph. So this would be a dotted line. And coming over here with this one, we're going to have to first isolate the y by dividing by -2. So we'll get y is, remember to flip this sign around. This would be -1/2 x plus 2. The reason we had to flip that sign around is because we divided by a -2 on both sides of the inequality. So this will be a solid line because it has the or equal to line underneath the less than sign. So I'm going to go up to 2. And I'll go down 1 and over 2, down 1 and over 2, and we'll just repeat the pattern here. And if I extend these lines out, and I like to take up the whole graph with these because it's easier to kind of tell where your shaded area is going to be. What I'm going to do now is just shade these each separately. So I'm going to start by shading, let's do the red line. So hang on one second. Let's go ahead and shade the red line let's go with pink here. So since this is a greater than sign, I'm going to shade above the red line. That would be up here. Anything above that red line is going to get shaded in. And then for the blue line, I'm going to shade this in blue. I'll shade this anything below the blue line, since it's less than or equal to. I'm going to shade anything down here in blue. And you should see that the final answer is actually this dark blue area where the two shadings overlap. So the part of our answer that we want is where both of these inequalities hold true. And both of the inequalities hold true in this little area over here. So that would be our final answer, is this kind of dark blue shaded area where they overlap. Okay, we got one more example to go through. And this next one, we'll start by graphing the first line, which is a vertical line at 4 on the x-axis. This is a solid line because it has the or equal to. And now we're going to shade, since this is greater than, we can't really think of shading above or below, but the greater x values are to the right. So I'm actually going to just start by shading this one right away. So I'm going to shade all these x values over here to the right. And the next part we'll look at is this 2x minus 2y is less than 8. So I'm going to subtract 2x over first. And when I do that, I should have -2y is less than -2x plus 8. And then if I divide by -2 through each of these things here, I should be getting y is, again, you have to be careful here. This should be greater than, we've got to flip that sign around. That would be positive x minus 4, okay? Which means I'm going to have to start at -4 on the y-axis, and then since our slope in this case is 1, I'm going to be going up 1 and over 1. I might just go every other point here just to save some time. That's still a steepness though, of up 1 and over 1. I'm just going up 2 over 2, same thing. And again, this should be a dotted line since we do not have the or equal to line, so I'm going to put a little dotted line or dashed line in here. And this line, since it's greater than, once we flip the sign, we need to shade above this line. So I'm going to shade the upper half here of this line. And you'll notice that this, again, this dark blue area is going to be where the graphs overlap. So our final answer is that dark blue area where the shading is overlapping, meaning that points in this area will make both inequalities true. So for example, if I wanted, one solution to this system, we could do the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3. So the ordered pair, 5, 3, would solve this system of inequalities because it's in the shaded area, the overlapping one. If you picked a point out here, it would work in the blue inequality, but not the red one. And if you tried this one over here, then it would work for this inequality, but not for both. And the ones we want are the ones that work for both, so it's that dark blue shaded area.